The future of Greenland will be determined exclusively by the people of Denmark and Greenland themselves. Not through intimidation, not through military pressure, and not by anyone who believes national borders are up for negotiation. Canada stands firmly with Denmark, and we are opening a consulate in Nuuk to make that stance absolutely clear. Those were the words of Mark Carney in Paris on January 6, 2026, speaking alongside Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen at the Canadian Embassy. His statement came only hours after Donald Trump renewed threats to take Greenland by force if necessary. This was not diplomatic phrasing, but a direct rejection of American territorial ambitions in the Arctic. For decades, Arctic geopolitics functioned on an unwritten understanding. The United States was the dominant power. NATO allies such as Canada and Denmark generally deferred to Washington on regional security matters. Russia was the shared adversary, the focal point of coordination. And Greenland, the vast island between North America and Europe, existed in a kind of strategic limbo. It remained Danish territory, while hosting a significant American military presence. That balance shifted the moment Trump decided Greenland should become American. He appointed a special envoy whose explicit mission was to integrate Greenland into the United States. The White House openly declared that military force was always on the table for annexing Danish territory. Suddenly, Arctic politics were no longer governed by informal agreements or mutual restraint. Carney did more than refuse to endorse American claims. He openly aligned Canada with Denmark against the United States. He announced that Canada would send its Indigenous Governor-General and its Foreign Affairs Minister to Greenland in February to open a consulate. He began coordinating Arctic security with Nordic nations while explicitly rejecting American territorial demands. And he started helping build a coalition of NATO allies, treating threats against Greenland as threats to the alliance itself. Tonight, we're examining how Canada chose Denmark over the United States in the Arctic, how Trump's pressure campaign backfired into the strongest Canadian-Danish Arctic partnership ever formed, and how an American attempt to assert dominance instead pushed allies to sideline the United States in Arctic coordination. But before we go deeper, if you value in-depth analysis like this, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss stories that actually matter. Greenland is immense, 2 million square kilometers in size, 80% covered in ice, and home to just 56,000 people, most of them Inuit. It has been part of the Danish realm for centuries, gaining increasing autonomy over time while remaining within the Kingdom of Denmark. Its strategic value is enormous. Greenland sits between North America and Europe, directly adjacent to emerging Arctic shipping routes. The United States operates Pichifik Space Base, formerly Thule Air Base, which hosts key radar systems for North American missile defense. From Greenland, military forces can monitor Russian and Chinese activity across the Arctic. Economically, Greenland is just as significant. It holds vast reserves of rare earth minerals essential for modern electronics, batteries, and defense technologies. As Arctic ice retreats, offshore oil and gas reserves are becoming accessible. The value of Greenland's mineral resources alone is estimated in the hundreds of billions of dollars. Trump's interest in Greenland didn't begin recently. During his first presidency, he openly suggested buying the island. Denmark politely declined, and the idea faded. But during his second term, amid rising nationalism and intensifying Arctic competition, Trump revived the plan. This time, he coupled it with explicit threats of military action. The White House framed the move as a matter of national security. They argued it was necessary to counter Chinese and Russian influence, secure access to critical resources, and protect NATO's northern flank. But what Trump truly revealed was something else. That he views sovereignty as flexible if power allows it. That allies should accept American demands without resistance, and that threatening NATO members is acceptable if labeled strategic necessity. Denmark heard a different message. If the United States would threaten Denmark over Greenland, then no ally sovereignty is truly safe. Most Canadian prime ministers would have tried to hedge. They would have expressed concern, called for dialogue, and avoided taking sides. They would have tried to preserve relations with both Washington and Copenhagen. Carney chose the opposite path. He publicly affirmed Danish sovereignty over Greenland. He used the phrase solely by the people of Denmark and Greenland, language that directly rejects American claims. He announced the opening of a Canadian consulate in Nuuk as a concrete act of support. And crucially, he sent Governor-General Mary Simon to Greenland. Simon is Inuit. She previously served as Canada's ambassador for circumpolar affairs and ambassador to Denmark. Her presence sends multiple messages at once. Canada recognizes Greenlanders' right to self-determination. Canada shares deep Arctic and Indigenous ties. Canada will not defer to American leadership on Indigenous Arctic issues. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand will accompany Simon. This is not symbolic diplomacy. It is cabinet-level engagement explicitly backing Denmark while the United States issues annexation threats. Carney's wording was deliberate. He emphasized national self-determination, sovereignty, and territorial integrity as fundamental principles. He stated that Canada will always support Denmark's sovereignty, including Greenland. Every phrase was chosen to contradict Trump's position. Self-determination means Greenlanders decide. Sovereignty means Denmark's authority is legitimate. Territorial integrity means borders cannot be altered by force or coercion. Prime Minister Frederiksen understood exactly what was happening. She thanked Carney for being very clear on respect for national sovereignty. She emphasized cooperation with all NATO allies to secure the Arctic region, not under American leadership, but as equals. Carney was not acting alone. France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, and the United Kingdom joined Denmark and Canada in a joint statement. The language was unmistakable. Greenland belongs to its people. Only Denmark and Greenland have the authority to decide its future. 7 NATO allies publicly rejected American territorial claims against another NATO member. No hedging, no compromise language, just outright refusal. Europe sent a clear signal. Trump's threats against Greenland were being treated as threats to NATO itself. Frederiksen warned that annexation would mean the end of the alliance. European leaders took that warning seriously. Trump expected silence, or mild protest followed by submission. Instead, allies coordinated a unified response that diplomatically isolated the United States, and Canada was at the center of that effort. Carney met privately with Frederiksen in Paris ahead of the Ukraine Security Summit. They coordinated Arctic security approaches that explicitly exclude American territorial ambitions. The message was unmistakable. Canada and Europe are building Arctic cooperation that works around American demands rather than following American leadership. For decades, Arctic security meant American leadership by default. That model has collapsed. When the United States threatens Allied territory, allies stop trusting its leadership. They begin coordinating independently. Canada is also deepening Arctic ties with Nordic countries. Finland and Sweden bring new NATO Arctic capabilities. Norway contributes extensive Arctic experience. Iceland offers critical geographic positioning. Together with Denmark and Greenland, a Nordic-Canadian Arctic bloc is emerging. This bloc controls key Arctic geography. Greenland dominates North Atlantic access. Iceland sits astride vital shipping lanes. Norway watches the Barents Sea. Canada controls the Northwest Passage. If these nations coordinate without Washington, American dominance fades, not through defeat, but through exclusion. Sending Mary Simon was strategic brilliance. Greenland's population is overwhelmingly Inuit. Canada's Governor-General is Inuk. The message is that Arctic indigenous peoples share bonds that cross borders. If Trump tries to annex Greenland, he isn't just violating Danish sovereignty, he's undermining indigenous self-determination. Canada is signaling it will stand against that. This resonates deeply in Greenland. Greenlanders value their autonomy and indigenous identity. Threats to absorb them into another state ignore and insult that reality. Simon's visit says Canada respects Greenlandic self-governance and stands with Arctic indigenous communities. It also reassures Canada's own Arctic populations. By defending Greenland, Carney signals that indigenous sovereignty matters, even when standing up to the United States. Trump wanted Greenland. Instead, he triggered unified European opposition. He fractured trust within NATO and he accelerated independent Arctic coordination that sidelines American influence. Greenland will not become American territory, but the Arctic is becoming a region where US leadership is no longer automatic. Canada chose Denmark. Europe supported that choice. And the United States is discovering that power means little when allies decide to move forward without you.